In this video, let's keep it simple. Let's create a hyperlink out of this text right here, and we'll create a hover state so that when you're not hovering over a hyperlink, it looks like this. It's white. But then when you hover over it, it's going to be a different color with an underline. Also, we will fix this little space right here. And to finish the video, we will add this tagline right here. Let's start with this space you see right here. By default, IMG elements have a space right after them, and that's what you're seeing right there. IMG elements are inline elements as opposed to being block elements. The best way to get rid of that extra space is to make an image into a block element. Now, I don't want to create a rule that will make all IMG elements block elements, because if I do that, it will affect other elements, IMG elements, that I might not want to turn into a block level element. For example, this Facebook icon, that's an IMG element. And if I make that into a block level element, then my right alignment will not work. And I don't want that. What we can do then is use a class that will target just this image right here. Let's do that. Let's add a class attribute, this IMG element. We'll call it block IMG, because that would make sense to me. If I have other images that I want to make into a block level element, then I know to use this class. Save that, and we will create that class. That was block IMG. Make sure they match. And we'll say display block. Now, let me make sure I saved both files. Now when I refresh my preview, that space will be eliminated. Now we have that lovely little border right there. Now let's make home into a hyperlink. At this point, you've had many opportunities to create hyperlinks out of text. You get to do that one more time. We put an anchor tag with the href attribute before the text that you want to make into a hyperlink. Say for the home text, that should go to index.html. Then we'll close this anchor tag right after home. Now we've created a hyperlink out of that text. I'll save that, refresh my preview, and now you'll see that the default display for hyperlinks is what's going to occur here. Now it's in blue, or that shade of purple or blue, because I've visited this page, and it also has an underline to it. Now, I don't like how that looks. I want my web page to look like my mockup here when users are just looking at it. And then I want it to where when they do hover over the text, I want there to be some kind of feedback, some kind of interaction to where they can tell that they hovered over something that they can click on. And in this example, I want it to where on hover, this will change from white to red and it will have an underline. And that's the other part too. I don't want it to display like that. I want it to look like this, white, with no underline. And to do that, we can go to our CSS and create a selector for anchor tags, or A, and we'll just say color white. So that takes care of the color, and for the underline, we'll say text decoration none, and that takes care of the underline. This is still a hyperlink, but now as a user, there's no interaction, or no feedback to let them know that they've hovered over some kind of something, in this case, a hyperlink. What we'll do then is create a hover state. To create a hover state for anchor tags, we use this selector right here, A : hover. Now, a common mistake I see is space gets added like that. That's not going to work. So make sure you don't have any spaces there. Within this A : hover selector, you can specify what you want to happen when a user hovers over, in this case, a hyperlink. Well, I want the color to change to red, or whatever you want to use for that. And I want the text decoration to change from none to underline. Save that. Refresh. Now, when I hover over a hyperlink, it changes colors and it adds underline to that. That just gives it a little something for your web page so that you're giving feedback to your users. They know that they are about to interact, or that they can interact with a particular element. For Contact Me, Gallery, Services, and Blog, I will leave that to you before submitting your Lab 3 to make into hyperlinks. And same thing for this Facebook icon. I will leave it to you to make it a hyperlink that goes to facebook.com. All right, the last part I want to add is this tagline right here. Living art captured ... for real serious. We've completed the header portion, and I mentioned in a previous video that I want this portion from the tagline to this paragraph and image, the other image, to be for the main section. This will be the time then to add the second section, the main section. Here's my opening main tag and closing main tag. And we will implement this tagline as a paragraph. In this paragraph, we'll put in that text, living art captured ... for real serious. And there were quotes with that too. Now, a quote would be an example of a special character. So we want to make sure that we use the character entity for that. And if you do a search, you'll find that the character entity for double quotes would be the ensign, QUOT semicolon. I'll go ahead and copy that for the closing double quote. We'll save that, refresh our preview, and there's our tagline, which looks nothing like my mockup. So we need to work on that. First thing we'll do is we will center that and make it bigger. 44.38, let's just make that 44 before, and it's in italic. I want to target this particular paragraph element. I want to create a class for that because it's a pretty specific style, and I don't want this to apply to all paragraphs. So we'll just say tagline. We'll create a tagline class. We'll create the class in our CSS. That's when we'll say text align center to make it centered. We'll make the font size 44 pixels, and we'll make the font style italic. Let's see what that looks like. All right, that's looking good. Now we need to add a little space before and after. We'll estimate that padding at the top to be about, let's just make it 25 pixels. We'll keep it proportional, so 25 pixels at the top, 25 pixels at the bottom. Padding top, 25 px, padding bottom, 25 px. I did not use the padding property because doing so will add a padding to the top, bottom, left, and right sides, and I don't need to do that. I just want padding for the top and bottom. Let's save that and refresh our preview. Now we have a padding at the top, and you can't really tell where it ends because we don't have a border like we do in our mockup, but there will be a 25 pixel padding at the bottom once we add that border at the bottom. And speaking of that border at the bottom, we already created a class called bottom border to where it will add a 2 pixel solid, whatever color that is, border at the bottom of whatever we apply this class to. Looking at our HTML, this living art captured for Real Serious tagline, that's inside this paragraph. So we can apply a second class, and to do that, you just separate each class with a space. You can have more than one class applied to a paragraph. This one will be for bottom border. Now when I save this and refresh my preview, there's my border right there. Compare that with our mockup, and things are starting to look pretty good. In the next video, we will add this bio paragraph and this other image right below this tagline.